those issues, but not just for that location, for the whole of Bannockburn, because this issue of these residents isn't just, it's not an isolated thing in that area. There is other people in the Shire that do have these concerns as well in Bannockburn. Thank you.
That's Councillor. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. 8.5. That's the motion to planning application 21 Milton Street. Sharky has leaving the room. I've received a couple of messages from people. They reckon the live stream is
Yes,
working.
we're working on it.
Thank you.
Well, Brendan is.
Brendan is. Point. Councillors,
Why don't we stop the live streams back on for them? A break.
Yeah, back up.
Okay. 10-8. Councillors, I'll now direct you to agenda item 8.1, which is notice of motion to rescind 21 Milton Street, Bannockburn Childcare Centre. Refer councillors to page 28 of the agenda for this report. Recommendation. The motion is there. Councillors, are there any questions? If not, do I have a mover for this, being Councillor Whitfield, your notice of motion? Councillor Kirby, sorry, Councillor Kirby, I apologise. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Whitfield, thank you. Kirby, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I do not believe this application was considered duly against the provisions of the planning scheme, including municipal planning strategy and the planning policy framework, and the decision guidelines being clause 55. Therefore, I would like to be rescinded on the following grounds, which I will talk about here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Whitfield, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Yes, thank you. Sorry for the
All good.
there. I've got a bit about the rescission, and it may seem like I'm starting to talk for the application, but I do believe reasons for rescission are why do come from why it should be approved. So if I cross the line there, I can't help it. I support the motion to rescind the decision, which was made at the June council meeting, due to my belief that if this application were to go to VCAT, VCAT would determine it meets the planning scheme. If it goes to VCAT, which I'm sure the applicants would do, the conditions recommended may not all be applied by VCAT. There could be a less stringent outcome on the development. We as councillors need to have solid grounds on which to defend a decision to refuse. Unfortunately, the state of the current street parking and estimates of negative traffic impacts are not a consideration. These issues cannot be imposed on the applicant to fix when the off-street parking meets the requirements. It's council's responsibility to ensure satisfactory parking and impacts on traffic are mitigated. I'll say that in a slightly different way. If council, through tonight's proceedings, decides to approve this permit, it is up to council to oversee traffic management and make improvements if necessary. Council cannot dictate the location where an application comes in. It can only judge if the application meets the planning scheme. In this case, it's a Section 2 use, which means should it comply with the decision guidelines of the zone, then it should be granted a permit. This childcare centre will provide our growing community with hard-to-come-by childcare places. This centre will provide employment. These developments don't come along often, and could it be more conveniently located? Sure, but does it meet the planning scheme where it is proposed? Yes. So nothing further. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other councillors wishing to speak to the motion? Councillors wishing to speak against the motion? Any councillors wishing to speak to the motion? If not, I'll ask Councillor Kirby to close.
Thank you. Yes, as you know, this site is situated on a very busy street, and I think that going forward, if it goes to BCAT, this would definitely go against council. Therefore, I think that we know that we have done the policies, we've done the framework around Bannockburn. We know that these are the areas that are going to a part of the township for the future. And therefore, I think we are doing the right thing by putting a childcare centre in this precinct. We know that the schools are close, it's going to be handy for parents, and at the end of the day, it's just a parcel of land that is not going to have that much impact on the local traffic, but I believe that, you know, it is allocated car parking spaces within the precinct itself that's being proposed. So at the end of the day, you know, if we can say to the operators, please make sure that the parents park in there, I'm sure that they'll be obliging. And we know that parents don't always drop their children off at the same time of the day as school children. It can be early morning, 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9. So it's not going to be the same time as what the school children are there. So I think we're probably jumping the gun saying that it's going to increase the traffic by a lot more, but I think we're underestimating the different times. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillors on the motion, all those in favour? Yes. Those against? Sorry, all. Casting vote, correct? My casting vote will be the same as my previous vote, so motion is lost. Thank you.
So 8.3 would be next, Mr. Mayor, considering that 8.1 was lost. 8.3 is now lapsed.
Yes, 8.4.
So 8.4.
Councillor Sharkey.
Mr. Mayor, while Councillor Sharkey's coming back, is it possible to have 5 minutes of privilege? Just because I'm aware that we do have a confidential meeting to follow.
Recess.
Recess. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, have a second of certainly. Councillors, 5 minutes. We'll be back at 8.
Thank you.
What's the next one?
8.4.
Page
Councillor Sharkey,
31.
notice the rescind was lost.
Page 31. Yeah, that's it. One. Yeah, that's it. We're up to that one.
Going up there, you've got nothing better to do. Oh, you're giving the buses away?
Week of school term.
He's not Reg Vardy anymore, and neither am I much.
I thought it was time to.
I was thinking the same thing on the buses.
It's only CFA talk.
Welcome back, everyone. Move on to agenda item 8.4, which is notice of motion options for replacement of Golden Lake Bridge. The council's to page 31 of the agenda report. Take it away. Motion. Any questions to the applicable director? Ms. Gavin. Got his picture on him.
Sorry, yes.
8:30 in the morning.
You're back. Thank you. Can I please ask for a mover for this recommendation? Those motions.
Hang on, I've got a question.
Questions? Sorry.
This Golden Lake Bridge, what's the limit? Is there a limit on that bridge at the moment?
5 tonnes.
Okay. A wooden bridge?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Gibson, do I have a seconder for the notice of motion? Councillor Kirby, thank you very much. Councillor Gibson, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Yes, the reason for this motion coming forward is that this has been up once before and council I canvassed many years ago and got $300,000 off Dan Tehan's government. And we had a lot of petitions and whatever, and it is an emergency road which runs from it's a forest gate which 5 vehicles need to go across. Ambulances, an ambulance route, don't ask me why, but that's the way the ambulance always come. It's a rainbow bird trail which the council put money into and for different grants and things. It's got to the stage now the bridge is, the timber's pretty rackety and whatever. It's also used by local farmers. And my son works for the local farmer, cannot get a tractor across the bridge. And he went up to a gate on the west side of it the other week and the tractor reared up. So this has brought the farmer in to realise now that a bridge or something should be there. There's tourist buses. I do tours. I get to the top of the hill. Councillor Kirby has been on a bus with me. We do it probably at least once a year. I've had to reverse probably, I think it's 2 kilometres or more backwards so I can turn around. So it's very well used. It's also a detour at the minute for the Piggery Bridge, and Golden Lake Road is in a shocking condition at the minute, and someone goes on a push bike at the moment, they're just going to come a cropper. So what we ask is, and I've discussed with the local farmer, that if the bridge is not replaced, can we get the bridge is over 100 years old, can we get a culvert for a floodway in? And he is happy to sell land to the council, and we can go on the north side of the bridge, leave the bridge where it is and make a new track around. So that is a possibility. So it needs to be put up. We've had several fires last season on the eastern side of the bridge. The Lincoln tanker and my own personal tanker, we can't get around, so it puts another 15, 20 minutes at least on that journey. So if there happens to be an accident, someone could die because there's no access for emergency vehicles. And also the highway between Scarsdale and Lincoln is blocked quite often with trees across the road or whatever. People that live, and at the time there was 29 houses, but from the Glenelg Highway right down to Golden Lake Road, they have to use that access out. And if there's a fire, you don't drive out of they'd have to drive out of the bush, but then you don't drive back into the bush if you kept going on Golden Lake Road the other way. So whereas they go straight out to the highway and hopefully they'd be safe. I've been involved in fires, in the Linton fire where the fireman got burnt to death, and I don't want to see this reoccur in my area either. So it's not very pleasant to sit in the coroner's court for 4 hours and witness this, and I don't want to see our council be responsible for this if it did happen. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Kirby would like to speak to the motion, please.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm in favour of this motion also, as I have concerns regarding this bridge, and because it's just not accessible for people, and it's not accessible for emergency vehicles, and it's not accessible for locals, for anyone over with a 5-tonne limit. We know that this is an emergency route for the ambulance, for fire brigade and for police. And as Councillor Getson said, to be diverted around and take an extra 15 minutes to get to a fire or an emergency, it is just, it's not on, for sure. Councillor Getson lives approximately 3.6 kilometres from where this bridge is being built. He doesn't own the bridge. He just lives up the other end of the road. So even for him and his family, if there was an emergency, if there was a fire, they would have to access this route. And also, he wouldn't be able to take his fire truck over the bridge because it's probably more than 5 tonnes. So I think that anyone that is escaping from a fire, this would be the only route out if it was coming, the fire was coming from the west, the northwest. I'm also concerned for the other 29 houses that reside north of this bridge. I've been around there. I've had a look at that, all the houses up there. And as Councillor Getson said, if there's a fire coming from the north and the Glenelg Highway is cut off, those residents cannot travel north. They have to travel south, and this is the only way out. And to be honest, they're travelling into farmland. It's all farmland around that bridge. So at least we know they're going to be in an open area that's going to be a lot safer than travelling through the bush. Once again, we also know that this bridge is part of Council's, it's part of Council's Rainbow Bird Trail. So we should be looking after the bridge. It's there for tourists. It's there, you know, we want tourism. So we should be maintaining our bridges. We've done it in all other areas of the Shire, and this bridge is no different. If not, it is more of a safety concern for the tourists, for the residents who live there in case of fires and emergencies. I will once again mention emergency vehicles. It is paramount that we have a report come back to council, and it is vital that this, you know, that shows the statistics of who uses it, which way the ambulances go, which way the fire trucks go, and police services. Any resident has a right to use the bridge, and whether you're a farmer on a tractor, none of us own the roads, but you should have access to them, and you should be able to access to go over a bridge and not try and go over a creek or drive another 15 minutes around to access your own employment. So following this, I'm definitely with Councillor Getson on moving this, seconding this motion.
Any other councillors wishing to speak to this motion? Councillor Whitfield, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry, it might have been the lag in the stream or something, but I did want to ask a question in relation to this item. Am I able to do that now, please?
Yeah, that'd be fine. The Director.
Thank you. Yeah, so my question just relates to in the public question time this evening, because the person wasn't here to ask the question, the answer wasn't read out, but the question relates to this agenda item, and I'd just like some, I'd like to know for myself, do any of the things raised in that public question relate to this item? So it's a simple yes or no answer, really, if you don't want to dive into it, but when it queries governance rules, I just need to know the answer, please.
I'll ask CEO Tuggle to provide a response.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Councillor Whitfield, and through you, Mr Mayor. So the two questions, question one related to it coming back onto an agenda when it's previously been debated by council, and that's clear. Any council, it was a former council, so it wasn't this council, it was 2019. So council's quite within its rights to put a notice of motion up. What council does with that is then entirely up to them. The second one regarded conflicts of interest, and there have been no conflicts of interest declared in this item.
Thank you very much.
Any councillors wishing to speak to the motion? Any councillors wishing to speak against the motion? Councillor Sharkey.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much. And I appreciate the sentiment of this one. I'm not too familiar with the area. I don't have a son that works up and down the road, or drive a bus up and down the road myself personally. But the reason why I'm not going to support this is because I don't personally believe it's the right way that this should come through council. Now, if this came through and it was a petition, it was a little bit different, or if it was more strategic in nature rather than a specific bridge. I just don't want, and we've had a few notice of motions similar to this, which I've disagreed with or voted against because it's not, in my opinion, strategic in nature. If this motion was, let's address and have a look at all our bridges strategically and put them in order, but I just struggle to put Golden Lake Bridge ahead of several other bridges that are needed and infrastructure that we have in the area. We've got plans there, and even here in this question here, noticing that this road is the lowest category road on the council endorsed road management plan. We need to look at those plans. We have, this motion is asking for a report. If any councillors want to pull up the report that came to the previous council in 2019, there's a pretty good report there. And to be honest, if we adopt this, I dare say officers are just going to cut and paste that and give it to us next month anyhow. But what we need to appreciate, councillors, is this bridge, whilst it'd be nice to have it upgraded, the cost to have that upgraded was $700,000 5 years ago. So in line with all the rising costs of things, it wouldn't surprise me if that figure has doubled. Also in that time and since then, the federal government and state government have shillings and pennies to give out. This would, in my opinion, probably be the lowest there. We are using this road is being used for the Rainbow Trail and other bits and pieces, but to advocate for a bridge down there, I think it's unfair to residents to ignite this issue when deep down all us know that the significant cost just wouldn't get up after all of that. But the reason I'm not supporting this is because it's not, in my opinion, strategic in nature, and I don't want those emotions like this coming for specific things. Councillor O next month brings something down, he's go track, and somebody else brings something else. Let's be more strategic in nature.
Thank you
very much.
Councillor Rowe. Councillor Rowe. Shaggy. So, Councillor Gamble, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I support this call by Councillor Getson for a report. It's not committing to any funding. I think there are extra strategic considerations with this road and bridge, namely safety responsibilities, not just about the volume of traffic on the road, but there is significant very high fire risk bush with quite a few houses throughout the area to both the west and the north of this road, and any fire that starts to the upwind of the predominant winds, then access, this is a back way out to an access road to escape. But it's also part of the bird trail, and it's a very scenic road, and I think we do have a responsibility to maintain it. And I I'd also, there are many considerations of factors, including, as Councillor Sharkey alluded to, the substantial cost to upgrade and any replacement of the bridge, and seeing just how that would stack up compared to other priorities, other infrastructure projects throughout the Shire. So I know that there is considerable support locally in that part of the Shire for and concern from residents that live in that bushy area. So I think it's incumbent on us to at least have a report so that we can examine the issues, and perhaps there is a special case for advocating for funding externally if anything was to be done. So I support Councillor Getson's notice of motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Councillor Getson, last in the post.
Yeah, thank you. Well, if council put it on low status or whatever, how come the council query for concrete trucks when I report them going across the bridge? I'd like to know that. And they were probably 25 tonne. So they went over the bridge, and there were signs up, and they ignored all the signs. So what it means is this road needs to be. It's already been spent a lot of money on it, and it needs a lot more. There's culverts going in. There's every wet going onto it. As I said, it's a major road. It always has been. It's been there for hundreds of years. It is a tourist attraction. We're trying to get tourists into the town. I remember their briefing the other week. One of the pictures was from the historical part of it. You could see the Golden Lake Road Bridge on the screen and Nimmons Bridge in the background. The amount of people that come down on that road, even on horseback, is unbelievable. And I think council officers, I'd love them to go for a drive up that road right now. I nearly thought about telling them to drive up that way on the way up here today, but go up there tonight and have a look, and it's dodged potholes. I have brought it up with Director Zivovich about it, that something's got to be done, because there's several potholes over a culvert, and someone's going to hit that, and they're going to go straight down the culvert because they're probably about 4 or 5 inches deep. So to me, the road is a disgrace.
Let's get somewhere on the bridge. Councillors, now motion to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? Councillor Whitfield, I didn't see your vote. Was it for?
Sorry.
For?
There's my hand.
All those
For.
for?
For. Happy to hear a report.
It's okay. Those against? Carried. Petitions nil. Confidential reports for consideration. Councillors, there are confidential items for consideration. These items are considered confidential as defined in section 3 of the Local Government Act. Can I please ask for a councillor to move the recommendation to move into closed session? Councillor Getson, thank you. Seconder? Down to the row. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Sharkey? Favour?
I can't vote against.
Yeah. Those against? Okay.